All right, welcome back from lunch, everyone. We're going to go through the review of landing page liftoff, adding some pizzazz to our landing page. I've launched all three browsers, or all three major browsers. I've got Safari, Chrome, and Firefox up, and the reason I did this is because when you're working on the front end, you usually want to see what it looks like in all three browsers, because there can be differences. And I actually noticed one already, so let's see if we can see it. It's kind of subtle. Here's what it looks like in Safari, and here's what it looks like in Chrome, and then here's what it looks like in Firefox. Now I know. Yeah, I mean, something is definitely not right. I don't know what it is. And this is why you test in all three browsers. If you don't have them, I don't care which one you like to use, but you should have them because you're a developer now and you need to know these things. As obviously, we are modeling this behavior for you, giving you this broken start point. Okay, so maybe we can look at that later and see if we can fix it. So let's start out. What is the first thing we are asked to do? We want to do something with the header, I believe. Actually, let me first ask, like, what do you want to see right now? Yeah, for sure. Let's start by doing the I think it's this thing, right? We're trying to get this thing to be hidden right now and then auto show when we move down a certain amount. And I wonder how far that amount should be. I think the workshop says 4 pixels, but let's, we might want to play with that and make it some, like, it feels like it should happen here, right? This is like when we want the header. We don't want it here, really. Okay, but let's first make that happen. Let's start by hiding it. Oh, we have no JavaScript. Great. We have some CSS, great. And this is a header, I believe. It is this element, which, sure, I find that a little bit questionable, but I would call this all a nav, but these are the kinds of disagreements that reasonable people can have with each other. And I think it's already selected as a header. Yeah, okay, so it's display flex, it's position fixed, so it's attached. So I think we want to start this hidden, and then we're going to add a visible class to it, or it suggested active. So to start it hidden, let's translate it off the screen. So I'll do transform translate y minus 100%. Let me start with that with 50% so that we can see what it's going to do. So it's halfway up the screen. When I give percentages in translations, those are percentages of the size of this object, which is useful. It's nice to be able to move things as a percentage of their determined size. We can use this as a trick to vertically and horizontally center something without using Flexbox. But for now, let's just hide it. We'll say it is off the screen. Goodbye, you are not on the screen anymore. Actually, it kind of still is on the screen, isn't it? There's like there's a little border. I wonder why that is. Is it the box sizing? You don't see it? It's there. Oh, it's the shadow. Okay. Is there... Am I crazy? There's definitely this shadow here. Here, how about 101%? Bam, done, hidden. Maybe if I wanted to be really precise about this, I could figure out what exactly that was. I would imagine it's a border, or sorry, a box shadow, but I don't see a box shadow. But I could figure out what that was and figure out exactly how big it is and then use a calculation here. You can use calc inside of this. but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say 101%. And then when it's active, we'll translate it 0. And it's not active right now, but we can make it active. I'm just going to sort of hack in some JavaScript down here, add active to it. Okay, remove active. Great. And I think we want to animate that, so we'll do transition transform 115 milliseconds. I don't know. This is like I read something once that was like, this is a nice number, so I use that number a lot. Other people have other numbers. Okay. So now it's like sliding in and sliding out. That's cool. Okay, let's tie that to the scroll now. So, any questions so far? All right. So in the JavaScript, we can add a scroll listener. And we can get the current scroll position off the window. And I guess we want this to be shown whenever we're scrolled more than a certain amount. So if scroll y is greater than, say, 100, then, we should find this element, get the header, header. I feel like we might, it's not an ID, sorry, actually, let's just do query selector. Then we can say nav dot, what are we doing? Class list dot add active, otherwise nav dot class list remove active. And I'm pretty sure this does nothing quickly if we don't have, or if the class list is already gone, or if it's already there, or if this class is already there or already gone. So basically, these should be no ops in most of the time. So now I reload this, and it's popping up 100 pixels down. It doesn't do it immediately, you'll notice. Like, if I'm scrolled to here and I reload the page, it's, oh, what, really? Wait, does it fire a scroll event? Hang on. Oh, maybe it does. Oh, interesting. Does the browser fire a scroll event when you load the page? That's kind of surprising to me. But it looks like it is, right? Because otherwise this thing would just not be visible until I scroll.
Yeah, I think because on the Lage one, yeah, it did.
It does.
Maybe it's run it instead of true. Like check if the event had
already happened? Oh, okay. Interesting. All right, great. I guess, I don't know how much to rely on that behavior, but it's happening, so we're going to go with it. If we wanted to make sure this happened, we could pull this out into a named function and then just call it immediately. But I guess we don't have to. Oh, but let's check other browsers. How's it going in Safari? What? Is that really strange to anyone? Like, I scroll up and it crosses the threshold, and then it's like setting a transform makes it not fixed anymore. which is really the kind of weird behavior I've come to expect from Safari. Like if I'm scrolling really fast, can I just see it? Yeah, it like sits up there for a little while. Why would that be? Because it's transforming, but it's not transforming in... It's not transforming... It's like it's being moved, but it's suddenly coming unglued from the viewport. I bet we can fix that if we put this inside of a like div. Let's just give this an ID and call it the it's a shy menu, right? That's what this is. It only comes out sometimes. And in Chrome, what's happening? Okay, so putting this in has made something about my styles change. That's really annoying. What do you think it was? Oh, what it is that the header no longer needs to be display flex. It's the shy menu that needs to be. Let's actually do it the other way then. Let's wrap the header in this div. And then we will make the shy menu be position fixed. Well, that's definitely worse. Z-index 2, I guess, needs to be on this. Okay, and now instead of manipulating the... Oh no, I think that's right. And so now maybe it works on Safari. Yeah, that's better. So the reason that worked was that we were changing the transform of an element that was affixed to the viewport. Apparently, this does not work very well in Safari. You can kind of maybe imagine why. It's like we're transforming this element, and it's supposed to be glued to the viewport, but like when we transform it, the behavior we were seeing was kind of that it like isn't anymore. It gets its transformed position relative to the page. So we would be scrolling up, and we would see it still being there, like in this moment. So now instead of doing that, we're leaving the thing that is affixed to the viewport alone. So the shy menu is like stuck and it never moves. And then we are moving the header inside of it to like peek out and, or to like hide and come back out.
So when stuff doesn't work across browsers, it's never like fixed.
No. Yeah, no. This is your life now. And then that works in Firefox, although there are other things that are hilariously not working. Is it just like a... No, it's not that. I was like, did we just use a WebKit prefix but not a Moz prefix? No, it's not that. We'll figure it out someday. Okay. Any questions before we go on to doing the carousel? Shy menu works even in Safari. Okay, so let's look at the carousel. we've got this carousel. It's got a bunch of images in it. So I think the suggestion was to go and find all the carousel images and just change the one that's active. So let's do that. So we can get the carousel images. Let's do that. Document.query selector all carousel images, or image, I think. Yeah. And then what do we want to do here? We want to say, here's the current image. And we want to set up a timer, or set up an interval that runs every 5 seconds. We're going to do every quarter of a second to start with, so we'll just see it fast for now. And it will give that image of so we will make this hidden and then make the next one visible. Where is it? Oops. Oh. What's going on here? Oh, and I should probably have this wraparound, right? So current carousel image equals current carousel, carousel image mod the length of the number of carousel images we have. That's a look. These aren't fading, right? These are just like jumping from one to the next. So let's add some styles to make our kind of terrifyingly rapid thing a little bit smoother. Is this nauseating anyone yet? So transition, opacity, 1 second. Let's do like 150 seconds. Okay. Okay, and now let's slow that down. That's looking like it's doing the right thing, but man. How about every 2 seconds? Chill out. It doesn't really feel like it's transitioning, does it? Carousel image, opacity 1, opacity 0. Let's make this slower. That's about right? It's crossfading. It's kind of flickery. Still kind of flickery. Does that look about like everyone else's? 4, 5. What's that? Oh, yeah. Sorry, we should probably make it 5 seconds. That didn't seem to matter very much. And then 5.
No, I think the other pace to 1.5, so that's like a little bit slower.
Oh, I see, okay. So that it... Yeah, great. Okay. I'm not totally loving... There's something kind of janky about the scroll now, right? What's happening there? Oh, maybe we should not always do this. Maybe the thing I said was a lie. So let's say if scroll y is greater than 100 and not nav dot is shown, we'll do nav dot is shown equals true. Otherwise, nav dot is shown equals false. So this check should mean we don't add this class list if we don't need to. And I really screwed it up. Wait. So scroll y is greater than 100. That is true. And y, showing nav. Is shown like an actual thing? What do you think is going on here? So I'm scrolling, and here, let's see if we're getting into this else rank somehow. Oh yeah. Why? That seems very unlikely. Okay, so why am I following both branches? And for that matter, why am I getting quite so many events? So I'm adding a scroll listener. That happens just once. And then each time I scroll, I'm just getting one event, right? Because these are all unique offsets. And then the first time my is shown as false. And then we set it to true. And then we add this class list here. Let's try putting this not on the element. Nav is shown. Nav is shown. Nav is shown. Nav is shown. Why? What could I be doing? Let's just return here. It just doesn't seem right, does it? Okay, let's debug that later. For now, we'll tolerate a little bit of jank rather than the massive amount of jank that we're getting by using this workaround. It's as though it doesn't, like half the time it doesn't believe that the scroll Y is that big, but I just don't quite see it. Okay, that's better, right? That's definitely an improvement. Okay, so we've got our header, we've got this thing. What's the last part? Parallax, right? Okay, cool. So for parallax, we're just going to do one more thing in the scroll listener, and that is we're going to move this entire thing up as we scroll down. Wait, no, we're going to move it down as we scroll down. Here, let's just play with it, and we'll we'll see which way it needs to move. So this is the what is this called? Is this the start logo? No, this is the carousel. Right, so we can just move the whole carousel up a little bit when we slide down the page. So let's try this. Let's be like, let's grab the carousel first of all. Oh, that'll be easy. Carousel, document, carousel. Funny thing, we don't actually have to do this. All things that have IDs are available as global variables. You shouldn't probably rely on that though, because you can end up, if something else has defined carousel in JavaScript somewhere, you'll get that instead of the element. So this is safer. And now we can say carousel dot style dot transform y equals dot what is it? Transform equals translate y by let's just say it's scroll y pixels. This is going to be wrong, I think, but we'll see what this is and then we'll see if we can make it right. Right, so that's not surprising. When we scroll the page, the perceptible effect is that the images don't move at all because they're being translated down by the same amount that we've just scrolled up. So this is kind of the limit of a parallax effect. You can think of it as though these images are now at infinity, which means it doesn't matter how far the camera moves, they're not going to perceptibly move. But if we divide this by 2, then they're some other distance, and then we get this neat little effect. And wow, that's janky. So let's try, it's the whole carousel, right? Let's try will change transform. It's still not great, TBH, but it's a lot better. And then how does this look in Safari? Beautiful. Okay, so this was the JavaScript. Any questions? And if we wanted to create like more transform layers, like we wanted other things to move at different rates so that they're different distances from the camera, like maybe we want this aviato to move, see, it's the carousel text. We can say we can just give it a different multiplier here. So instead of divide by 2, let's divide it by 4. And that'll make it like closer to the camera, but still farther away than the other thing. Let's maybe, oh, sorry, this should be text. That's like a little bit too much, right? It's like almost just stuck entirely. Let's do like, oh, looks kind of cool. Anyway, you can play with that. Your heart's content. All right. Any other questions? Cool. I think we actually ended this on time. How do people like doing this kind of stuff? I really enjoy it. I think it's fun to like make pretty things, but it's really frustrating until you understand, until you like know more of these rules and how they interact and like the toolkit available to you. I know this because I was learning like last year I was learning Swift and iOS, and it was like my whole life was turned upside down. I used to know like, oh, I can just pop up in DevTools and like look at the properties on this and kind of know how to position something. And immediately I knew none of that. And also like there like aren't DevTools, there are, but like there aren't the same kind of just like rip open the app DevTools that we have on the web. And so I was floundering. I was like massively confused. Yeah. Not very comfortable. I mean, it depends on how much work, I shouldn't say that, it depends on how much work or how much emphasis you decide to put into it. Like, if you're like, I don't like doing this, you can avoid doing it, you can avoid doing it. You can like, we don't really emphasize like everything must look shiny. And so if you're Stackathon, you kind of like don't do that very much. And then you sort of shy away from working on front end, like design aspects of the major projects, then you're not going to have as much practice with it. If it's something you want to learn more about and keep practicing, then you just have to do it. So MDN is like the best reference guide, I think. And then I usually find out about things. I don't even know how I know half of what I know. But like it's like I'll see an effect on a web page and I'll be like, that's cool. And I'll pop up in DevTools and try and figure out the bigger thing. Like I was trying to figure out for the longest time, oh no. I I was trying to figure out how Squarespace does its parallax scroll, which is how, wow, this is really slow. Because there's actually like multiple competing ways of doing parallax scrolling. This is not the most performant, the one we're suggesting to you. Oh, she changed it. But yeah, so they have this parallax scroll on available on some of their templates. And this has the nice effect, and that uses basically the same technique we showed you here. You can also do a parallax scroll using CSS, using like just CSS rules. You can specify like literally a perspective in a container and then set the actual like Z distance of the different parallax layers from the camera. And it kind of works as you would expect. The downside there is, and it sounds like a dumb thing, but it's really annoying. Because you're scrolling not the page, but an element within the page, you're like scrolling the parallax container, the URL bar doesn't dismiss on mobile. So you know how the URL bar hides when you scroll away? Yeah, it doesn't do that. Which sounds like not a big deal until you're looking at your page on mobile and you're like, this is really, really annoying to have this bar just sitting there. So it's all trade-offs. You can always, I'm going to go back to my page, another moment of narcissism. So this scroll effect is like pretty nicely smooth in Safari, and then like deeply pathologically slow in Chrome and Firefox at desktop sizes. I don't know how noticeable that is, but it's like pretty janky here and pretty smooth in Safari. And I basically have not narrowed down exactly why that is, but I think I'm going to have to rebuild the effect using WebGL, which is another avenue to make things pretty. It gives you a ton of control, but it's more work. A ton of control, very high performance, but you have to like really tune everything to do what you want it to. Exactly what it is. Makes me feel better. The internet is not just some big truck, but CSS is just a big truck. But like at the point when they were writing the spec for will change, they've got to, like, someone on the committee has just got to be like, this is where this is not really a declarative language anymore, exactly. Except it is, right? I declare that this will change. Fine. Fine. All right. Any last questions before the next thing happens? All right. In that case, here's Karen with the next thing. What is the next thing, Karen? Yay!